We'll get started. Welcome, welcome. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone. If you are new here to my space, my name is Kelly. I am the creator behind the Wholesome Nomad brand, as well as one of the founders over at Team It's Essential. I work with doTERRA essential oils, educating you on how to use them safely and integrate them into your health and wellness routine in your daily life. And today is one of my favorite days of the year because I get to teach you my Sense and Sensuality class, which is something I created. This is my fourth year now teaching this in a row, and it's something I look forward to every year. It's so much fun. So if you're over on Instagram with me, I do have a PowerPoint that goes along with this class. So if you wanted to hop over to Facebook, we're live over there at the Wholesome Nomad brand page. You can find a direct link to that in my bio. And if you're here with me on Zoom or Facebook, you will be able to see it. But Instagrammers, you won't be able to yet. Either they haven't figured out the technology or I just don't know how to do it. So just to stay tuned for that. I'll also have the replay up on my YouTube channel as well as my Facebook. If you wanted to catch the replay with the PowerPoints, you can screenshot all the slides and have all the information there as well. All right, I see a few of you are popping in, so we're just gonna go ahead and dive right in. If you have questions, please type them in the chat box if you're over on Zoom or here live on Instagram. I can see you there, and I'd be happy to help answer any questions that might pop up for you. Also, if you are a little bit gun shy about this topic, or this is something that kind of makes you a little nervous, we are going to go there today. So feel free to watch as long as you want and then hop off if it gets to be a little bit too much for you. But this is a really important part of our lives and something that we really need to be tapping into as part of our holistic being, right? Is this topic of sexuality and intimacy. So we're just going to hop right in. I'm really excited. Here's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to talk about oils to use in the bedroom. I'm going to spotlight a few different oils for you. There's tons of different options that are available to you, and I'll kind of go over the science behind some of them and why they work, but just know that there's like a whole versatile gamut that you could tap into. So if one of these oils doesn't work for you, contact whoever is supporting you and educating you in your essential oil journey, and they'd be more than happy to assist you. If you don't have someone who's that role in your life yet, let me know. I'd be honored to advocate for you and to help support you in this journey. We're also going to go over some recipes for his and hers. And then I have some other things that are also going to be really helpful in terms of like libido and intimacy, and really to enhance the sexual experience in your life with whatever that looks like for you. So we're going to go beyond the oils too at the very end of class tonight. Okay, so first of all, I want to talk about this topic of why oils, why we should be using oils in the bedroom in general. And one of the main reasons for that is because they're super versatile. So when I got started with my essential oil journey, I wanted relief from like physical symptoms. I was having a lot of stomach issues and some head tension, and I needed the relief for that. And I quickly found out that I can actually use my essential oils for lots of different things. So yes, we can use them to address physical ailments and things like that might be happening in the body, as well as emotional needs, as well as replacing your cleaning products in your home and making sure your house smells good, using them on your pets and your infants, and also to use in the bedroom as well. So they're super versatile, which means that you just make one investment one time and you're able to do lots of different things with these little brown bottles of magic, which is super fun. There's also a good chance that you'll have a reduced risk of sensitivity to using products that you make in the bedroom with your essential oils rather than purchasing something over the counter. When we are using these different products on what I call our pink parts, our sensitive bits, the tissues there, whether you're male or female, are really, really sensitive and very absorbent. And so when we're using things that we might purchase in a store or online or whatever, there might be some ingredients in there that you just don't know. We don't know what they are or where they're derived from. So that can get kind of scary because we can have different reactions. Our body might not like it, especially if it's a synthetic. So when we're using our essential oils, we know exactly what's going into these different products that we can create on our own, which really gives us an opportunity to step into empowerment and be really confident and comfortable with what we're putting in, on, and around our bodies. They're also really inexpensive. Once you make your initial investment with these oils, it's going forward, you can do so much with them. And so you're using, maybe 2 to 3 drops in a recipe for a roller, for example, or a personal lubricant or whatever that might be. And so when you break that down cost per drop, it's like pennies on the dollar. So long-term, it can be really great for your budget as well. And also when we talk about this concept of aromatherapy, we can actually use aromatherapy and our essential oils to create anchors for different physical and emotional responses. So if you're brand new to essential oils or you're not quite sure how they work, but you've heard about them, I'll give you a very brief little science lesson. So when we inhale the scent of anything really, but we're talking about essential oils here for our purposes today, it goes through our olfactory nerve, which lives here in our nose, and that connects directly to the limbic system in your brain, which is right here at the beginning of your frontal lobe, and that is your emotional control center. So when we use aromatherapy, we're actually creating anchors into different feelings and different emotions that we're having going on in this emotional control center. And over time, what can happen is, say, for example, you use patchouli when you're in the mood or when you're trying to get in the mood or when you're trying to initiate or during foreplay or something like that. So you can kind of use that as an anchor. And then each time in the future, when you need to tap into that, you can smell that essential oil using your aromatherapy, and it will kind of jog that emotional and physical response in the body. So hopefully that makes sense. That's why it works on like a physical, sciencey, cellular level. And that's why it's so incredible to be able to have these tools, because we can lean on them when we are needing to create space or create a certain emotion or physical response in the body. Okay, so I'm going to talk to you really quick about some inhibitors and some boosters for libido and sexuality in general. And some of these might surprise you. So if you're watching and any of these kind of take you by surprise, I'd love to know what resonates with you or what makes a lot of sense and kind of is an aha. So when we talk about inhibitors, things that are going to inhibit our libido or our sexuality or our confidence, it's things like anxiety and stress. Those are huge and something that is often overlooked, especially in our society of this like constant busyness that goes on. Hormone changes can also be really, really big inhibitors. So if that's something that you've been struggling with, I highly recommend that you start reaching out to some practitioners, call in your tribe, people who can help you start to level out your hormones so that you have a more healthy response. Poor diet. So if you're eating a lot of processed foods or you have a diet that's really heavy in a lot of sodium or sugar, that can definitely impact libido and sexual health as well. Overindulgence in alcohol or smoking can also contribute to this. Toxic products, which I kind of mentioned at the beginning. So if you're using something like, an over-the-counter lubricant, that can actually decrease libido, which is really shocking to some people. So this might be an opportunity for you to, if you already have essential oils in your life, to just find one more use for them and see if that shifts for you. That one tiny little thing that we can do, we're moving the needle. One little step that we can make right away might just be swapping out some of those toxic products. It could also even be something like the toxic products in your home in terms of like cleaning supplies or something that you're using to scent your home with can inhibit libido as well. Different medications can also have an impact on that, as well as a variety of different health concerns. When I came to essential oils, I had just been recently diagnosed with a pretty serious stomach condition, and I was so concerned with like my health and well-being that my mentality and my hormone levels and my sexuality was just not there. Right? It's really hard to feel in the mood for me anyway when you're so ill and you're really concerned about whatever's going on with your body physically. On the flip side of that, we have some really fun boosters, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. So first and foremost, it's about having fun. So bringing a sense of fun into your everyday life, finding those moments of joy can actually help you to feel more confident and sexier, but also in the bedroom or bathroom or kitchen counter, wherever you happen to be, adding a little bit more fun and excitement, which is what we're going to chat about today too. I have some fun recipes that I'll share with you that are tried and true in our home, so you'll have to let me know if they work for you. Exercise and movement. So I love this concept of the word emotion being energy in motion. So if we're wanting to create more energy within the body, we need to get moving. So if you don't have a daily movement plan, it doesn't even have to be like an exercise routine or a workout plan, but just get your body moving so that you are shifting some of that energy and can kind of tap into more of that emotional flow. Eating a balanced diet can definitely help. We're going to talk later about foods that you can eat that actually increase circulation and decrease inflammation, which is what we want to have happen. Circulation being blood flow, right? When the blood is flowing to all the places, everything lifts off in a way that makes a lot of sense. Prioritizing your intimacy. And so I'm going to share with you a schedule that we follow in our home. Not currently, since my husband is wandering around in the middle of Florida, but we do have a little schedule that we follow, and I'll share that with you in case that resonates. You've been looking for a way to try to prioritize that in your life and in your relationship. Self-care, prioritizing your self-care. Maybe that looks like a detox bath twice a week. Maybe it looks like a yoga class. Maybe that looks like, seeking professional help from a grief counselor or someone to help you work through some different emotional blocks. Self-care can look very different for everybody, but it can be really helpful to focus on that when we talk about libido and trying to improve our intimacy experiences. And then, of course, essential oils, which is what we're going to be chatting about today, as always. Super briefly, if you're brand new to essential oils, I kind of want to give you a really quick rundown on how to use doTERRA essential oils. This is the company that I educate on. So if you are using essential oils from another company, just know that I can't speak to the efficacy and the safety of those oils. But if you do have questions about doTERRA, I am more than happy to be your girl and to guide you. You'd also feel free to reach out to the person who brought you to doTERRA initially. And I know that they would be more than happy to assist you as well. We're a community of educators here, and we just absolutely love what we do. So 3 ways to use essential oils. So doTERRA oils, you can use them aromatically, which is just breathing them in. You could just pop it straight from the bottle, throw it in a diffuser, even just add a drop to the palm of your hand and make yourself like your own little personal diffuser. Breathe it in. We're just inhaling it, right? Getting those aromatic benefits. Topically, so you can just put it on topically on the skin. We're also going to talk about where else you could put it topically today. And then you can also use it internally. So maybe that's a drop in a empty vegetable capsule, a drop in your water or your tea, or even just right onto the tongue, which is what we'll also be, I'll be sharing a tip with you on that in here in a bit. Okay, so safety first. This is really important, especially with the topic that we're going over today. I want to remind you that oil dilutes oil. So if you get essential oil in a place that is a pink part or a place that's really sensitive, you're going to want to avoid adding water and or heat, because that's actually going to intensify what you're experiencing as a result of using that essential oil. I share this story a lot, and luckily my husband is a pretty good sport and is cool with me doing it. But when we first got started with using essential oils, he broke his back years ago. And so he asked me for a back massage with a product we have called Deep Blue, which is kind of like an organic version of Icy Hot, if you will. So I gave him a back massage with the Deep Blue, and one thing led to another. I didn't think about washing my hands. And before you know it, he had Deep Blue in a really sensitive area. And I didn't know what I was doing. And so I told him to just jump in the shower. That was a bit of a mistake. Hindsight's 2020, because when he hopped in the shower, the heat and the moisture from the water opens up your pores and it intensifies that sort of like warming, tingling, burning sensation, which was not great. I thought it was hysterical, but he he definitely was not having a good time at that moment. So just remember that oil dilutes oil. So if you do get oil in a place that's uncomfortable, use coconut oil, olive oil, vegetable oil, anything that you have on hand that's a plant-based oil to help just dilute that down until the effects of that are reduced if you do have it in a place that you don't want it. When in doubt, always dilute. And always, always, always dilute for your pink parts, okay? So we don't want to be using any of our essential oils straight on any of our pink parts. So when I say that, hopefully you know that I mean genitalia, right? So anywhere that's pink and moist and doesn't see a whole lot of sunlight, that's where you're going to always make sure that you're diluting your essential oils. If you are using latex, if you're using condoms for birth control, just keep in mind that some plant-based carrier oils can actually break down the latex. So coconut oil being the biggest culprit. So if you are going to want to be making your own personal lubricant, I would recommend using a different carrier oil that's not coconut oil, because the coconut can actually break down the latex. And I am not responsible for any doTERRA babies that come from this class. So just make sure that you're being really mindful of that. And again, if you have questions, let me know. Some of my favorite carriers beyond coconut oil are jojoba seed. Jojoba seed actually has the same pH as our skin. So it's really moisturizing, and it's not going to be like greasy, if that makes sense. And I really like almond oil as well, because it, again, assimilates really well onto our skin and doesn't evaporate as quickly as maybe a coconut oil might, or some of the over-counter lubes that maybe you're used to. Okay, so I'm going to chat with you about a few oils that I wanted to highlight for a couple different reasons. And I got a lot of this information from a really awesome book called Essential Oil Emotions. There is a book that you can purchase. There's also an app. It's a really great resource if you're wanting to kind of tap into some of the emotional benefits that you can get from your essential oils. But there's some physical stuff here that I'll talk to you about as well. So cinnamon is the oil of sexual harmony. So it's going to help us to feel more in tune with our sexuality. It's also, on the physical side, a sexual stimulant. So there's a recipe I'll share with you, and I just posted it on my social media a couple hours ago, called the Giddy Up Blend. And it literally helps to increase blood flow and circulation and to stimulate libido. So when we add that diluted, please, please, please dilute it. When you add that diluted onto like the upper inner thigh, it's going to help to increase blood flow to that area, which again, when we have increased blood flow, is going to make everything more intense, and you're going to want to you're going to be a little bit more tapped into that side of yourself and that libido. It also really supports vaginal health. So if you have any kind of issues, whether it's like a candida overgrowth, you've got some yeast stuff going on, some general funkiness happening, you can use cinnamon, highly diluted. Please don't forget to do that to help combat any of those vaginal health issues. Patchouli is an oil that I don't use very often, but it is a really good one, especially if you're going to add it to different like diffuser blends or roller bottle blends and recipes. It is the oil of physicality. So it helps us to reconnect with our body and to just kind of drop in tune with that. So if you feel somewhat disconnected, or maybe you've had some body image issues in the past, this would be a really good oil for you to just slowly start integrating. Maybe use this one as an anchor, like we talked about in the beginning. You know, you're smelling this oil when you're trying to get in the mood so that you can use it in the future to kind of elicit that emotional response. It is a natural aphrodisiac, which is awesome. It's also a mood elevator. So that's a good one to maybe add to like a linen spray to spritz your sheets down with, or add it to a diffuser blend or perfume even, just because it helps to kind of make everybody happier. It's really hard to feel sexy when you're in kind of a depressed state, right? So anything we can do to kind of lift ourselves out of that is going to be great. Okay, and then geranium here is the oil of love and trust. This is an oil that can take a little getting used to. So if you have geranium and you haven't used it yet because the smell is pretty intense, it might be because you actually have some trust or feelings of like abandonment that you might have to be wanting to be working through. Okay, so kind of be mindful of that. If we're really like we have a big aversion to a certain aromatherapy benefit, sometimes we can actually really need those emotional benefits that an oil is associated with. So just kind of keep that in mind if there's anything that you're just like, oof, I really don't love the smell of this one. That was geranium for me for a really long time. And I started just adding it to my hair serum, and now it's one that I really love. It can increase sex drive. It also helps to balance hormones. It's super great if you have any kind of like female hormonal issues. So add that to your daily practice. Maybe make a roller bottle out of it. You can apply it directly to the abdomen, on the soles of the feet, or wear it, you know, over the heart space. Also applying any of these like sort of sexy oils we're talking about to your solar plexus chakra can be really great. So you can find your solar plexus here, right between like your sternum and your belly button, I guess that would be. So applying that there, it could be just one little simple thing that you do in the morning. Maybe when you brush your teeth, apply a drop of geranium right there, just to help increase drive and balance some of those hormones. I think that was all I had on those. Yes. Okay. Moving right along, you'll notice a lot of these are florals. So something that I tell my oil community a lot is, if you're not quite sure what an oil does, try to imagine what it looks like in nature. Okay. So for example, when we think about a frankincense tree or a cypress tree, I'm thinking like a really big wooded tree that has a big trunk. It's really grounded and strong and steady. Those are going to be our balancing oils. They're going to help us to feel more relaxed. They're going to help us to feel more centered. When we think about a flower, flowers look like vaginas, right? There's this like a thing that we all know to be true. So when we tap into using our floral essential oils, that's going to mirror itself in how we can use it for our sexual health and for intimacy. So when in doubt, grab a floral, even if it's lavender, whatever you have on hand. But you'll notice that a lot of these are in the floral family, and that's because that's what those plants are designed to do, which is really cool. Nature is absolute magic when you think about it that way. It's like one of my favorite things about learning about plants is to kind of see the mirrors in what they look like in nature and what they do for us on a physical and emotional level. So lang lang, or lang lang, however you pronounce it, I always mispronounce this one, is the oil of the inner child. So it's going to help us tap into that feeling of like play and joy and freedom. It's also an aphrodisiac, and it also helps to balance hormones. So you'll see a lot of these physical benefits kind of overlap. So maybe if you don't have any of these oils, you just want to pick a couple, or maybe pick a few that have, you know, the emotional benefits that you're looking for to start with, and then you can always increase your collection as time goes on. Clary sage is another one I love. It is the oil of clarity and vision. So I really like using this one, especially if I'm feeling like I can't really get into the mood because I have a lot going on in my head. I don't know if you're like this, but sometimes when I have so much happening day to day, it's really hard for me to like pause and really truly be present in my body and with my spouse when I have a lot happening. That's like that monkey mind. So using clary sage can help to kind of open up some clarity for you. It also helps to regulate estrogen and balance your hormones. And it smells really beautiful. It's very, very feminine. I actually really love adding clary sage to my dry brushing routine. If you haven't looked up dry brushing yet, go and Google it when we're done here. It's really great for stimulating the lymphatic system in the body. And when we add that with a floral essential oil, we're stimulating that lymphatic system and also helping to boost libido and regulate our hormones. So it's a really beautiful practice. You can even drop a couple drops into some Epsom salts and take a little soak, or do a foot soak even. That would be a really awesome practice for you to integrate. Jasmine is another very floral oil, and it actually only comes for us at doTERRA here in a roller. And I think that's really strategic because by itself, it's going to be really intense and you need to cut it with something. But when we add it with some coconut oil, it's a really beautiful sort of a natural perfume. Jasmine is the oil of sexual purity and also sexual balance. So again, this can be used male or female. It's going to help to regulate hormones. It's also an aphrodisiac. Fun fact about jasmine, and this is also true with ylang ylang, there are many cultures, especially a lot of the Asian cultures, who for hundreds of years have been adorning marital beds with these flower petals. Jasmine, ylang ylang, magnolia, neroli, these different types of beautiful florals. And that just, again, reminds us, you know, how powerful these different botanicals can be. And they've been used for literally thousands of years. It's just, they're conveniently bottled for us now, thank goodness. So we don't actually have to go out and harvest them ourselves. The last one here on this list is bergamot, and it is the oil of self-acceptance. So again, going back to that body image, if you've struggled with that before in the past, or you're struggling working through that now, this would be a really good oil that I would just get on your body daily. I love teaching the concept of habit stacking. So keep a bottle of bergamot by your toothbrush or your deodorant, whatever is something that you do every day automatically, by your coffee pot even, so that you're reminded and triggered to apply it topically or take it internally, however you're using any particular oil. But the bergamot especially, I would get that on your solar plexus, even on your sacral chakra, which is going to be like that, like low abdomen, low back. That's kind of like that grounded, rooted sexual center. So you could get that on there to really help promote that sense of like self-acceptance and body confidence. Okay, a few more here, and then we're going to move on to some more stuff. I promise. I just have so much information. I love sharing this with you guys. Passion is actually an oil blend that we have happening in our diffuser right now. Right now I've got passion, sandalwood, and wild orange going in my friend's home, and it is a really awesome, fun little Valentine's blend. So if you're looking for something, go throw that in there. Passion is the inspiring blend, so it's going to promote spontaneity. Again, going back to that like sense of joy and fun and bringing a little bit more of that color and vibrancy to your bedroom. It also increases blood flow. There's cinnamon in it, a couple other different oils that do the same, you know, the same things in terms of improving circulation. And it's also an aphrodisiac. Whisper is our blend for women. So it's almost like a women's perfume blend. What's fascinating about Whisper is if you're ever in a group full of women, or even just 3 or 4 of you together, have everybody put a little drop of Whisper on their wrist, or maybe even like where you would put perfume, you know, behind your ears or on the chest. It smells completely different on different women because it interacts with your body chemistry. It's fascinating. It smells like old lady baby powder on me, but I've met so many women, it smells incredible on them. So you might just have to kind of experiment and see how it works for you. It's the oil of femininity. So if you've been working on maybe trying to tap into this sort of like divine femme, or stepping into your womanhood in whatever sense that looks like, Whisper would be a really good one. Again, balancing hormones and promoting healthy sexuality. So if you have any kind of a poor experience in the past in terms of sexuality, or you have some trauma in your past, Whisper will help you to work through that on an emotional level. Cypress is the oil of motion and flow. So usually we think of oil of motion and flow in terms of like, you know, emotional flow and getting into the flow and being able to like show up and do work that matters. But it's also the oil of motion and flow when we're wanting to lift things off the ground, right? So it's an aphrodisiac, increases circulation. It also helps to promote trust on an emotional level, which can be obviously a really, really super important thing when we're talking about sex, because it's really hard to enjoy yourself and really be free and feel free to like play around and experiment if you're not trusting of yourself and or your partner. Last but not least, I have Slim and Sassy on here. Slim and Sassy is actually a metabolic blend. So when taken internally, it can help regulate metabolism, regulate healthy sugar levels, help you to decrease sugar cravings, that kind of thing. Emotionally, it's the oil of inner beauty. And there is grapefruit in Slim and Sassy. So again, kind of going back to this oil, this concept of like honoring the body, trusting the body's natural processes, helps to promote confidence. So you could even pop this in the diffuser or put a couple drops of the oil blend in your water, something super simple that you can do right away today, especially if you already have this oil, to help you get to, to achieve this goal. It supports blood flow and also stamina. So I'm not talking stamina like during a workout, I'm talking sexual stamina for sure. So guys can absolutely take this too. I know the name Slim and Sassy kind of freaks some guys out. So rename it if you need to, or just put it in your man's water. He'll be fine. Okay, so here is a really fun little blend. Feel free to screenshot any of this. This is for you guys. I'm not going to go over all of these oils, but I wanted you to have access to them. So if you're with me on Instagram, you might want to pop over on Facebook so you can see some of this stuff. I kind of have a few different essential oils listed and some of their benefits as well. But again, go back to some of those floral oils. If you are looking for like one place to start, you might want to grab yourself some Clary Calm. Clary Calm is our women's monthly blend. So it's designed to help with like feelings of PMS and cramping and mood swings, things like that. It could also help regulate hormones. So if you're looking for one place to start and you don't have a big collection of oils yet, that's where I would begin and go from there. Just keep in mind that Clary Calm does not come diluted. So if you're going to want to add it to personal lubricant or something like that, make sure that you dilute it down for your pink parts. Here's another fun blend. This one is tried and true. This one is an uplifting blend for men. So it's going to help with arousal and stamina. Again, here's some other different essential oils that you can use, especially for guys. A big one for men is going to be this idea of like detoxification. So getting lemon into their water, or your water, guys, if you're here watching me. I don't know how many men watch these, but you never know. So detoxing the body to help with prostate health and blood flow, different things like that is going to be really important. So if you just do one thing, get yourself a citrus oil. Hopefully it's lemon, pop it in your water every single day. Get yourself like some sort of a reusable glass or stainless steel water bottle and start there. And then make yourself this Giddy Up blend because that'll be really helpful too. Okay, here's a couple other blends. I already posted both of these on my Facebook and Instagram as well. So if you wanted them, you can go ahead and snag them there or save them. Give you a quick second to screenshot. Okay. All right, so I promised you I would talk about some other things that we could do beyond just using essential oils. So something that I don't think it's talked about enough is like just our general everyday health and wellness and how that can play into healthy sexual experiences. So DDR Prime is our essential oil cellular complex. It is a supplement in that it has a combination of different oils that are going to help to promote really healthy cells. So it's going to help with longevity. It's going to help with brain function. It helps with libido. It helps with arousal and being able to maintain an erection. All of this stuff is happening when we can use these different essential oils to kind of help these body systems all systems go, basically. Mito 2 Max is another good one. This is our energy complex. So a lot of people will take this before workout or in the morning if you feel kind of sluggish. Same kind of thing, right? So it's our energy and stamina complex for our bodies on a healthy level. So it's going to help with endurance as well as blood flow. It literally helps to oxygenate the mitochondria of your cells, which is that like energy center of your cells. So it's going to really help to keep things up, keep things up and going. The phytoestrogen is our essential complex for hormone balance. I think a lot of people think there's this misconception that only women can take it, but actually men can take phytoestrogen as well. Phytoestrogens are just they come from a plant. I wish it was called something different because the word estrogen in there freaks people out and they think, oh, it's got to be just for women, and that is absolutely not the case. Phytoestrogens are plant compounds that help to regulate hormones. So if you're feeling like you have some hormone imbalances, phytoestrogen would be really good for you to add to your supplement routine. If you don't have a supplement routine at all and you just want to look for one thing to start with, I would highly recommend starting with our Lifelong Vitality line. It is basically good for all of the things. I have an entire class on that if you are one of my essential oil community members. And you can go and learn more about that too if you just do a quick Google search on doTERRA's Lifelong Vitality line. But it's a series of 3. It's like, I can't even equate it to say like multivitamin. That still seems like I'm doing it a disservice. But if you're not on some sort of really high quality supplement vitamin routine, you need to be. If you are an adult listening to this conversation, you're sexually active, you're old enough to be a sexually active being, you also need to be supplementing. This is just like something we need to be doing to thrive. Most of us can kind of go through life in survival mode. But if you really want to be thriving and have energy and have healthy bowel movements and healthy sexual drive and just kind of have a complete health picture, you need to have a really high quality supplement. This one gets my vote each and every time. The PB Assist, weirdly enough, I know a lot of people are like, why are you talking about gut health when you're supposed to be talking about sex? Here's why. 90% of your serotonin is produced in your gut. Serotonin is a chemical in your body that makes you happy. When you're happy, people want to have sex. Sad people don't want to have sex, right? So if you're feeling like you have a decreased libido or you're really not into it, and you're not quite sure how healthy your gut is, if you want to start with just one thing, again, I try to give you little measurable steps. Start with getting your gut in balance by taking a probiotic. I really love this one from doTERRA because it is double encapsulated. So it actually has your prebiotic and your probiotic all in the same pill, which is really awesome because it's actually going to get like into your guts rather than just kind of disintegrating into the hydrochloric acid in your stomach. So grab yourself some PB Assist, take it at night on an empty stomach, report back to me in 2 to 4 weeks and let me know how things are going in the libido department. Okay, and then last but not least, I have peppermint beadlets on there. Peppermint beadlets are 3/4 of 1 drop of peppermint essential oil in a little tiny round sphere. I should have grabbed them so that you could see them. But anyway, they're tiny round little gelatin spheres. You can either swallow them if you're having like any kind of tummy upset or something like that. You can pop them in your mouth, which is really good if you need like a breath freshener. But it's also my favorite little hack before oral sex between whichever partner. If you don't have the beadlets, but you do have peppermint on hand, here's my favorite way to use it. We're going to do a drop of peppermint on the back of your hand, just like this, and then lick it off. When you do it that way, it's going to be diluted enough when you go down there so that you're not causing increased sensitivity to anybody's kink parts. You've also got it in your mouth, so you have this like awesome little tingling thing happening. And super great too if you're out for like date night and you just ate, you know, garlic pasta or broccoli, or you just had something kind of stinky. Maybe you went out for like crab legs and lobster or something like that. I don't know what your Valentine's Day date plans are, but I always keep peppermint on hand just in case I need like an instant breath freshener. But super fun for his and her when you're working down south. So keep that in mind. Okay. Yarrow Pom is our amazing, incredible botanical duo. I feel like I talk about Yarrow Pom a lot and I will never stop talking about it because it changed my skin forever. But I want to talk about getting it on with Yarrow Pom because now we have a complete line of Yarrow Pom stuff. Sorry, I'm like peppermint is like everywhere. It's awesome. My nose is really open now too. Okay, so I have a recipe here for DIY personal lubricant if you wanted to make your own. Here's what I would do in like a 2-ounce bottle with whatever carrier you want of choice. Add 15 drops of Yarrow Pom, 5 drops of geranium, and 5 drops of ylang ylang. Again, mix and match, use whatever oils you have on hand, but those are my personal favorites just because of all of the amazing benefits that they have. If you don't want to make your own and you kind of want just like the hashtag easy button version, they just came out with a body renewal serum that has the Yarrow Pom in it, but it's not designed for your face. It's designed for the rest of your body, and it works incredible as a personal lubricant and also as a massage oil. So you can just use it just as it is, straight out of the bottle. You don't need to dilute it because it's already diluted down in a really beautiful base of like avocado oil. I think there's jojoba in there. I want to say apricot, but don't quote me. Anyway, it's really awesome, great for skin, and you can totally use it as a personal lubricant as well. And then there is also the beauty complex, which is something you would be taking internally. I know a lot of people think, well, that's just going to help with like skin and radiance, and it absolutely will. But it also in turn helps with blood flow and increased circulation, which again is kind of the name of the game here, right? So if you don't have the Yarrow Pom set, you can grab Yarrow Pom itself just in the bottle, the 30 milliliter bottle for 10% off this month, which is really awesome. And you can do a lot with it. Okay. Last but not least, I'm trying to like run through this so I'm not taking advantage of your time, but there's just so much to talk about with this awesome topic. So we schedule sex. And when I first heard about this topic, I thought that seems really weird to me. Why would anybody want to schedule sex? I love my husband. I should just be able to do it whenever I want to. But I can't be the only one who, when you get going in life, that's kind of something that can get pushed to the side or isn't as prioritized. So we listened to a podcast called One Extraordinary Marriage. You can find it on wherever you listen to podcasts. And they talk to us about, not to us, they talk to people, but we also listen to it about this idea of scheduling sex. And it's super fun. Basically, you take the week, so you have a 7-day period, and you split it into 2 sections. So somebody has maybe Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and someone else has Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So if my days are Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, I have to initiate sex on one of those 3 days. And what gets to be kind of fun is you can kind of start to play a game with your spouse. So they'll know when your days are, and you know when your days are, and vice versa. So say I have Sunday, Monday, Tuesday as my days, and it's Tuesday morning now. He knows he can expect it Tuesday night if I haven't initiated Sunday or Monday. With that comes the caveat of, if it's my day and I initiate, my partner cannot turn me down, basically, barring like, physical illness or something crazy. So you take out the fear of rejection, which can still exist even in a really healthy marriage. And it works both ways. And it's just been this really awesome thing. So what happens is you end up having sex twice a week on a really regular basis. They also suggest doing like a sex challenge, a 7 or a 14, or I think there's even a 90-day sex challenge, which we have not done. I'll let you know if we ever go down that road, where you're basically having sex every single day for 90 days, and just to watch what that does to your routine, because you're forced to change it up, right? In 90 days, it could get a little monotonous if you don't. And also what it does to your connection and your intimacy on an emotional level. So pretty interesting concept. Go and look that up if you have more questions. Again, I recommend just making it fun. Use your oils to help you stay spontaneous and keep it interesting. Some different foods to add. So just like we talked about with our oils, and we look at the plants in nature and what they look like. So like, flowers look like vaginas. So we're going to use those for vaginal health and for hormones and for women's health. When we look at food, the same sort of thing can happen. So if we are wanting to increase blood flow and libido, things like that, foods like figs, think of a fig when you cut into it. What does it look like, right? Walnuts, leafy greens always for everything, but especially for increasing libido. Eggs can be really helpful actually too. There's a lot of science around that. Watermelon, broccoli, raspberries, but figs and walnuts, especially male and female. Walnuts look like testicles, figs look like vaginas. Okay. So think about your food and what you're eating too. We want to also be avoiding foods that increase inflammation. So that is refined sugar, dairy, caffeine, processed food, gluten, and alcohol. I'm not saying you need to cut all of those out, but if you are feeling like you have a lot of inflammation or you do eat a lot of these different types of foods, I would recommend cutting out one or two at a time, or just even decreasing your consumption of them, and see what that does for you. This is an opportunity for you to be really mindful and to become more self-aware of what's happening in your body based on the foods that you put into it. If you know that every time you drink alcohol, you no longer feel like you're in the mood, you don't feel sexy, that could be because you have a lot of inflammation happening in the body, and the alcohol kind of pushes you over the edge. So maybe try not drinking for a couple of days in a row and see what happens, or whatever that looks like for you. So just kind of try to be mindful of that. Again, taking lifelong vitality supplements can be really helpful. Meditation. So believe it or not, there's a meditation out there for everything. I know we say there's an oil for that, but there's also a meditation for that too. So hop on to, there's a great app called Insight Timer that I really love. You could also just YouTube, meditations for sex, and you'd be amazed what you can find out there. Especially if you have like any kind of body image stuff you're wanting to work through, that can be a good place to start. So even if you start with like a 2-minute meditation where you're, imagining yourself in your sexiest outfit, feeling your best, or whatever that looks like, can be something super simple, but just gets you kind of started and gets your brain working in some sort of a direction. Sleep is a huge one. And after coming off of a month of night shift, I can tell you right now, it impacts more than you think it does. So if you are not getting high quality sleep, please reach out to somebody that you know, love, and trust, who can advocate for you and help you to set up some sort of a plan so that you are getting good, high quality sleep, because it impacts our libido like you would not believe. So definitely make sure you're tapping into that. Exercise, again, we talked about emotion being energy in motion. So adding that into your daily routine. There's also a website called OMG Yes, and I'm not paid by any of these people. So this is just me sharing with you what's worked for me and for us in my life. There's a website called OMG Yes, and you pay, I think it's $40, and you have access to all of their research. It was the first research study done of its kind, where they literally polled a bunch of women, they did a bunch of research, and then they compiled it in terms of like how to basically have a great sexual experience. And they have 2 seasons out now. The first one is all like external, and the second one is for internal. It's designed for ladies. So guys, sorry, maybe there's something like that out there for you. But I will tell you, if you are in a healthy heterosexual relationship and you're working with a guy, their lives will be changed as well. I promise you this. So go on to OMGS and check it out. Let me know how that goes. And if you have questions, I'd be happy to help you with that as well. Okay. Wrapping up here, I wanted to let you know that there are some awesome promos happening in February in doTERRA. We have 10% off Yaropalm, which I mentioned. We have a brand new oil that you can actually get for free if you do your order by the end of day tomorrow. There's an awesome little On Guard winter wellness bundle that you get for free with a qualifying purchase. And there's also a really cool winter protection collection that I've never seen anything like this done before. It's like a diffuser plus 4 oils and your DDR Prime supplements for a really great price. So if you are brand new to oils, or if you already exist in the oil world, just make sure you're leveraging your investment by getting some of these freebies, especially that Yaropalm, because having it at 10% off is really awesome. I do offer gift cards. So if you are watching this and you have not got your sweetie something for Valentine's and you think they maybe want oils, reach out to me and let me know. I'd be happy to help set up some sort of a kit that makes the most sense for you. And also, I always offer free wellness consultations to any of my essential oil customers. That would come with your purchase as well, of course. Okay, that is it from me. I'm going to pop over off of my shared screen here and see if I have any questions coming through on the chat. I don't think so. Okay, so hopefully that means I answered everybody's questions. We went there. It was awesome. Thanks for hanging out with me. I am looking forward to hearing about your experiences and how it all goes. If you have anything else you want to learn about, please let me know. I am an open book and happy to chat with you about all of the things. Happy Valentine's Day. I hope you have a beautiful day celebrating it however you are. My Valentine is like 800 miles away, so I am fortunate enough to be spending it with people who love me and who I love as well, just crashing their fun little love fest. So I hope that you get to do something similar, even if it's just hanging out with yourself. And you can use some of these tips for you too, even if it's just you. Hopefully you're having a great day. I'll talk to you all soon. Bye.